Today on Beyond the Box Score, Zach and I get you ready for March Madness with some college basketball power rankings. Also, we'll get you ready for the Big Sky Conference Tournament. That and much more as we take you once again Beyond the Box Score right now.
People say you must be crazy. People say you must be crazy.
Welcome to Beyond the Box Score. I'm your host, Trevor Amicone, and I'm joined today by Zach Russell. FIFO is out of town dealing with some family medical issues, so our thoughts are with him and his family. We'll hope to have him back with us next week. So, Zach, it's just you and me today, but we do have a special guest with us, and it's that ugly shirt. You want to explain why you have to wear that shirt today?
Listen, I lost the bet. Rondo, 2 points in the All-Star game. He totally let me down. And now I have to wear this Lakers, Fakers shirt. I didn't have a Lakers shirt. I had to go buy this, made my own. I like it. I think it looks good.
So wait, did you go buy it or did you make your own?
I bought this shirt.
Oh, you bought the T-shirt. You bought the white.
Put the cotton together and all that, but I ironed this on. I think it's fantastic.
I don't know if that counts or not.
It does.
The deal was
It's
Lakers
purple
shirt.
and whatever that yellow nastiness is.
I don't know if FIFO is going to accept that. We'll have to get.
Do I really
we'll
care
have to
if
get on
FIFO
the,
accepts it?
We'll have to, yeah, that was the bet.
No.
That was the bet. We'll have to get on the horn.
If he was here today, I might care.
So why don't you refresh our audience as to why you have to wear this shirt?
Because last week we made the bet about the All-Star game and which team would score the most points. If you looked at our teams, my team was actually pretty good except for Rondo. Rondo totally let me down. He had 2 points. And then they didn't even play Derrick Rose in the fourth quarter. Thanks, Thibodeau, or whatever his
that's
lame
your
name
bad.
is.
You're supposed to know that's going to happen. That's why I won with 135
yeah, because I didn't
points.
sell my soul and pick Kobe and pick Dwayne.
That's the game.
You sold your soul. I'd wear this rather than sell my soul to.
I'm not owning a real NBA team. The game was to see.
You should go get a job with the Heat.
The game, and I would win NBA championships just like they'll win this year.
Okay.
And I'd be a very, very happy man.
Whatever.
And a very, very rich man. All right.
Whatever.
So I won that one. I think I ended up with like 135 points because the goal was to get the most points, and you picked.
But not sell your soul doing it.
There was no soul involved in it
Yes,
at
there
all.
was. You picked Kobe for.
I did. I picked Kobe and I picked LeBron and I won. And
you didn't pick LeBron.
And
I
today
had LeBron.
I'm not. Well,
now you're really confused.
I don't know who I picked, but I won. That's all I know.
Last week you couldn't hear. This week you can't remember who you picked. Yeah.
Hey,
you won.
all I know is that I won, and that's all that matters.
I'd rather wear this than beat you any day.
I'm not wearing a Yankees shirt today. That's all that counts. That's all that matters.
Yep.
All right. So as you can see, we're starting today in front of our chalkboard, and that's because we are leading off with power rankings today. March Madness is right around the corner, so I'm going to give you my top 10 college basketball teams in the nation. And Zach, I'm sure, will then refute my power rankings with some sort of BS list of his own. And then we'll talk about some seeding scenarios as the tournament approaches here in a couple weeks. So let's start with my number 10 team in the country. Zach, are you going to be our Vanna White today?
I am going to be Vanna White as usual.
Okay.
As usual.
All right, Vanna, grab my number 10 team. It's Wichita State. Okay,
Let's
Wichita
see.
State, quality ball club. They won the NIT last year, and I think this is a team that's going to make a run in the NCAA tournament. Now, this is also a team that's going to be a very trendy pick to go far in the NCAA tournament because every year you get a team that's trendy, that people filling out their brackets. They want to make
it's called the Cinderella team.
Yes, and this is not going to be. This is not a Cinderella team. They are.
I know.
They are ranked 10th in the nation. This is not a Cinderella team, but people are going to call this. People are going to be very trendy, picking Wichita State to make a run. So that's my number 10 team. My number 9 team is Baylor, the Bears. They played just down I-15 here earlier in the season in Provo, played against BYU, looked very impressive there. They've struggled, though, recently. They need to prove that they can play against a top 10 team or a top tier team. 4 of their 5 losses have come against teams, against Kansas and Missouri. So just those two
Both good
teams.
teams.
Both good teams. But those are the teams. This is a team that'll make a run. They're a high-flying, high-scoring team. They'll
Okay.
make a run, but the question is what's going to happen when they run into a 2 seed, run into a 1 seed.
I can't wait till we get all this on the board, and I'm just going to rip it apart.
All right,
So,
yeah, let's see that.
What's
Number
your next one?
8, Ohio State. Ohio State is my number 8 team. This is a quality team, Jared Sullinger.
Okay, keep going.
You're
Keep
laughing
going.
at the fact
Keep
that I'm
going.
calling them a quality team?
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, Ohio State, very quality team. Jared Sullinger, one of the best players in the country. He won't win Player of the Year this year, almost won it last year. Very quality, but they're up and down. They play up and down to their competition, which
Okay, I'll agree.
Which
I agree with
sometimes bodes very well for an NCAA tournament type setting. But we'll see. I mean, this is a team
they
that could
get
be
hot.
right.
Yeah.
If they get. They would be vulnerable early to an upset, but then once they got going, like this would be a team, like you see that team every year that gets in and barely escapes the first round to a 15 seed or a 14 seed.
It's called Ohio State.
And then actually. And then makes that run where they're like on the verge of winning the national championship. That could be Ohio State again this year. So
Okay.
all right, number
Who we got
7.
next?
Michigan State. We'll go with another Big Ten team here.
Yeah.
Michigan State, this is a team that could end up with a 1 seed. But as far
Really?
as, yes, they are a 1 seed. ESPN, Joe Lunardi has them as a 1 seed. So they very easily could end up as a 1 seed. And I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. A lot of it depends on, too, what happens in the Big Ten tournament. But as far as the quality of team that I think they are, which is what power rankings are all about, I'm going to put Michigan State at 7. They're kind of a team similar to Ohio State. They'll win on Sunday to win the Big Ten regular season, and then we'll see what happens to go from there. But they could,
Okay.
I half think they've got to end up as a 1 seed because the winner of the Big Ten, which is a pretty tough conference, should be at least very much considered for a 1 seed. So,
I just tuned you out when you said Big Ten tough conference. I just let that go. What's your next team?
all right, well, that's to your own peril. Number 6. My number 6 team is Missouri. Now, this team I'm up and down with. I don't know about Missouri. They are very... This is a very high-risk, high-reward team. They play that style of basketball that is same as Ohio State, just with their style of play. Ohio State does it because of their mentality. Missouri does it because of their style of play. They're very up and down. This is a team that could very easily make a run in the NCAA tournament, but also is a team that I may be picking, depending on the matchup in the first round, to be done in the first round. They could also end up as a 1 seed, which probably won't be done in the first round.
I have no response to that because that done in the first round.
Not if they're a 1 seed. Not if you're much higher though. I saw your power rankings. You're much higher on Missouri than any sane human being should be. Okay, number 5. Number 5 for me is Duke. Now I'm going to get a lot of heat for this because you can put number 5 and number 4 up at the same time because my number 5 is Duke and my number 4 is North Carolina.
Okay.
And Duke for me. They beat North Carolina at North Carolina. So people are going to be asking me, well, how can you have North Carolina above Duke? And what power rankings are all about is who do you think the better team is? This isn't about who should be where.
Yeah.
It's who do you think is the most talented team?
Sure.
Who do you think is the best team? And in this setting, and we'll talk about that even
Which,
more.
if that's the case, I don't know what's happening here.
Right. Of course you don't. This
Yeah,
is way over your head. I got it. That's fine.
I thought it was like just down on the ground. I can't even see it.
Right,
It
right.
just-
Okay, so Duke, I've got Duke at 5 and North Carolina at 4 because Duke, they just, every year they do this. They have some bad losses. And it's the same this year. They lost to a couple of bad teams that you're just kind of scratching your head thinking, okay, which team, and it's this way recently with Duke, which team's going to show up? And so when you're picking your bracket, you're going, which team is going to show up? Which Duke is going to show up? And North Carolina, I think, is the more talented team, and which is why they're at 4. I think they're the more talented team, and I think that North Carolina, they're playing really well right now, and they are the best team in the ACC, even though they did lose to Duke. They'll beat Duke this weekend to win the conference.
Okay.
At Duke.
Except for the fact they got beat by Florida State 90-57.
Duke also got beat by Florida State.
Yeah, but 90-57.
No, that's true. That's true.
Okay.
But
all right.
North Carolina, watch. That'll be my bold prediction.
they played
North Carolina
like they
at
were-
Duke this weekend. North Carolina's going to win.
Okay.
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 All right. Number 3, Kansas. Big 12, great conference, very, very deep conference, and Kansas is the best team in that conference. The losses. What concerns me with Kansas, And I think you could draw a line right here between the top 2 teams in the country and everybody else. But what concerns me about Kansas is the 2 losses. They've lost 5 times, but the 2 losses one to Davidson and one to Iowa State. That can't happen.
I actually had that in my notes as well. The Davidson Davidson loss was pathetic.
And Davidson's not a bad
I know,
team,
but they lost by 10 to Davidson.
I mean, you can't lose those games. But Kansas is a team that is playing well right now and should be able to at least make some sort of run. They'll get a 1 seed.
They were 19 down to Mizzou. They came back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So they did. Props to coming back, but they were down 19.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, all right, number 2, Syracuse. Syracuse, this is a quality team, and if I had to pick my bracket right now, this is who I would be picking to win it all. Okay, and I'll tell you why, because they play defense. And I know they've got that 2-3 zone that just confuses.
Can't wait.
That confuses the heck out of everybody that they play. And so when it gets into March Madness, that type of setting, and when it's played well, like they're playing that 2-3 zone well right now, they're not scoring very well right now, which is a problem.
It's a big problem because they can't rebound either, but I'll get to that.
But Syracuse, I like Syracuse because they play defense, and that's something that can be consistent. Scoring, as we saw with Weber State, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but as we saw with Weber State, that you live and die by that. That's not always consistent. If you play defense, that's something that is consistent and that can stay around for March Madness.
I actually agree with that, and I threw up in my mouth. What's your number 1?
That you're agreeing with me?
Yes.
Number 1, Kentucky. This is everybody's number 1, and I actually think if you can draw a line right here between these top 2 teams and everybody else, you might even be able to draw a line right here and say Kentucky is just far and away the most talented team in the country. They have 1 loss. Syracuse has 1 loss. So, and then you go to Kansas and everybody else with 4 or 5 losses. And Kentucky, to me, is by far the most talented team in the country. And it is not even close. And it's that way with John Calipari. It's always been that way with John Calipari. The problem is they're young, they're inexperienced, and you have that and that's why I'm picking Syracuse. Or if I was forced, gun to my head today, to pick who I would pick to win March Madness, I would pick Syracuse instead of Kentucky because that inexperience, and we've seen that the last couple of years with John Calipari's teams at Kentucky.
Yes.
Up and down.
Yep.
One game, you see him in the second round go off and kill somebody, and then the Sweet 16 game, they're like flatline, like not even close to the same.
Okay, can I grab my top 10 now and just tear this down?
Sure. Let me grab it. You got it.
Let's see. Okay, so with Kentucky, like you were saying, with Calipari and everything, these guys, they're super athletic. They got no leadership. There's just no leadership on that team, and there never is.
Which seems to be the case always with every Calipari team, whether at Memphis or Kentucky or wherever.
Right now, regular season, yes, they're number 1. Come tournament time, I just throw them in the trash. Okay, now Syracuse, they're great, and you're right, they do play defense, but they cannot rebound. They're 117th in the country in rebounds. Per game. They have no presence, and you would think, I know Fab Melo's gone and everything, but they can't rebound the friggin' basketball. So like you said, when they were shooting poorly, if they're shooting poorly and they don't get any rebounding, they're going to lose. I know that they've played really well. Their only losses to Notre Dame.
Is they only have 1 loss. I know rebounding's an issue. They only have 1
I get that.
loss.
I get that, but in the tournament, it's
you look
in
the tournament, you look for consistency, and there's nothing more consistent than Syracuse's defense.
I agree with their defense, but they've got to be able to rebound in the tournament.
And if you're
the things that translate to the tournament are rebounds and defense.
If you're flying in some team, you're right, and rebounding needs to improve. But if you're flying in, and part of what hurts rebounding is the 2-3 zones. They've never been good at rebounding because it's hard to rebound out of a zone because you can't block out a guy that you're not matched up with. But Syracuse, the problem with Syracuse is rebounding, so I'll give you that. But they're consistent.
I thought this was my turn.
I thought the first part was my turn too, but you get to
whatever.
refute, and I get to
I
refute.
laughed a little bit. Okay, so then North Carolina. No, that's not number 4. They're in my top 10, but they're not number 4.
You don't like North Carolina?
No, that's Missouri. I don't know you're going to pay.
Right, you're high on Missouri.
Spend the time to go over there. The reason why I'm high on Missouri is because they as well play defense. They're super athletic, but I will say this: if they do have a flaw, they depend on threes. They shoot 38%, but when they gave up that 19-point lead to Kansas, they went cold on their threes, and they had nothing inside. So that could hurt them. And if they get cold in the tournament like that, they're going to lose.
That's why I don't. That's exactly why I don't like Missouri.
Now Duke is actually my number 5 as well as yours. But my biggest problem with Duke is they don't know how to pass the ball. They're 182nd in assists per games. Really, a Duke Mike Krzyzewski
kidding.
coach team is 182nd in assists per game. It's
Very
pathetic.
yeah, that's very
absolutely pathetic.
Absolutely.
Okay, my sixth team is Baylor. Okay, and the reason why I like Baylor is because they are athletic and they have a lot of size. They're big and they're athletic, and that's tough to shoot on. So they play excellent defense as well. But I got Baylor at number 6. I've got UNC at number 7. Let's just pull that out of there.
Michigan State's going to be a 1 seed, and you don't even have them. Do you even have them in your power rankings?
Just be quiet and let me talk.
They're going to be a 1 seed.
Listen to me. UNC, the reason why I have them at 7 is because, now get this stat line, they're 2nd in the nation in points per game, they're 1st in rebounds per game, and they're 5th in assists. The rebounding and the passing and assists is going to translate to the tournament. That's fantastic.
So you have them at 7 instead of 4.
I do have them at 7 because they're inconsistent.
Okay.
They got crushed by Florida State. Yes, they do that every game, but they just don't know how to win. They just don't. I mean, yes, they're winning, but when you get crushed,
only 25 out of 29
I get that. But when you get crushed 90 to 57, really, did you even show up?
It happens. That happens. Weber State got beat by Idaho State. It happens. They're college kids.
But 90 to 57, I get it happens, but it should have been close.
Bad game.
Should have been 33 points. Let me move on.
If all you have on your schedule,
here's what's pathetic.
If all you have on your schedule is one bad game,
other than you being pathetic, this is pathetic. Ohio State is not in my top 10. That's Georgetown. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country, and you said yourself, that translates. Georgetown, you're missing out. You only had one Big East team up here. The Big East is, in my opinion, probably the best basketball conference in the country.
I agree, but I think it's a deep conference.
It is a deep conference, but Georgetown plays lights-out defense. Okay, Notre Dame, who's typically a good offensive team, they held the 41 points the other night, 59-41. Now, Notre Dame usually likes those low-scoring games, but Notre Dame couldn't pass the ball. They couldn't score. Georgetown was all over them. Their defense was amazing. That's against a really good Mike Brey-coached offense team. So, outside of that, I got Wichita State at number 9, and I've got, so we'll pull that down, so they go down, and then I've got Michigan State at number 10. Now, the reason why I say Michigan State at number 10, they're playing the Big Ten. And to be honest, I don't think the Big Ten is that great of a basketball conference.
You must not be paying very much attention to college basketball then.
Who was the team that lost to North Carolina and Duke their first 2 games? Who was that?
Probably Ohio State. Or was it Michigan? Was it Michigan State?
Yes.
Okay, well they're playing. They're playing on.
Okay, so they lost their first 2 games to the ACC.
What
would he do? I don't care if they're playing on the moon. They should have won.
It's a toss-up game.
One of them. If they're in the top 10, and I've got them 10, I'm giving them a little love. But if they're in the top 10, they've got to beat one of those 2 teams, not lose both of them.
If they're in the top 10, they got to beat 2 top 5 teams.
They got to beat at least one of them.
The first 2 games of the season.
Come on.
The first 2 games of the season.
One of them. One for one. I'm not saying they had to win them both.
Well, I'm buying Michigan
Basically,
State.
now that everybody knows that your power rankings were almost good, I agreed with you here.
I'm buying Michigan State. And when they show up as a 1 seed,
I threw them up and then I sold them.
When they show up as a 1 seed on Selection Sunday,
that's a joke.
Your phone is going to blow up.
Is the BCS now picking the teams?
Could be.
The seeding and everything? Is that what's happening? Because that's what it would be like. It'd be a joke.
All right, so now you can see kind of what our show is going to be like when we have our March Madness preview. So check that out. We'll probably be doing a little bit of that next week, and then we'll figure out for you when we can do a show previewing the whole bracket itself and making our picks. You can see it'll be very spirited. So, all right, we're going to stay in college basketball now, but we'll move a little bit closer to home. Weber State fans are wishing it was even more closer to home, actually, but they will have to travel to Missoula, Montana to play this year's Big Sky Conference tournament. Tuesday night, when Weber State played at Montana to decide where the conference tournament would be held, the athletic department hosted a watch party for fans and students at the D Event Center. I was there to catch all the action and reaction. I'm Trevor Amicone here for Weber State Sports, and we're here at the D Event Center here. It's Tuesday night, and the Wildcats are taking on Montana in one of the biggest games in Weber State basketball history. One problem: Weber State is playing at Montana. So why are we here at the D Event Center? Because hundreds of Weber State fans are too. All those fans have gathered here at the D to watch this winner-take-all game as the Wildcats play on the Jumbotron here at the D Event Center against Montana. Whoever wins this game wins the regular season conference title and hosts the conference tournament next week. All right, we're down by 10, second half. Rough first half. What do you think? We got a chance in the second half?
Yeah, I've seen this team pull off miracles. I mean, a couple years ago we were down 7 with 54 seconds left to go in the game, and we came back to force overtime. So I don't think any game's out of hand for us. I just think we gotta slow down and play our game, not let them get us out of our comfort zone.
So rough first half so far. What do you think? We got a chance in the second half?
With Damian, we have a chance anytime. I think Coach Ray will have a great plan in the second half to get things going. We just kind of got to stop their big men, pretty much, is what I've seen. So just don't let them get inside. Can't let them have those big momentum plays, get their crowd going, and get them into it.
Okay, rough first half. We're down by 10 at halftime. What do you think? We got a chance in the second half?
Of course, we've pulled off many other upsets so far this year. San Jose State down late and managed to come back, so it's always possible.
So you like half organized this whole thing. Between me and you and Twitter, I think we got this whole thing figured out. And then you don't even show up for the first half. Were you the bad luck charm? Is that why we're down by 10 at halftime?
I'm actually the good luck charm, and my absence is what caused the first half downfall. But now that I'm here, you can look for a pickup in the second half.
All right, you better be right.
They call it Trevor Amicone, and this is its natural habitat.
All right, 8 minutes left. We're down 8. We got a chance?
Of course, absolutely.
Great, good interview.
Thank you.
All right, 8 minutes left. We're down by 8. We're in trouble. We're going to come back?
I think we can do it if we start to play a little defense.
We got to play defense. We got to get some stops.
We got to get some stops and make some baskets.
Wait.
Run by.
We got to make stops.
Defense.
We got to make stops, and we got to make shots.
Yeah, both. It's
So-
going to take a little bit of both.
So we just have to play better basketball.
Yep, straight up.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Tonight because we couldn't hit our high knees with either hand.
All right, I'm here with Andrew Gardner, and he was here for part of the game, but he was off campaigning. He's got quite an election coming up. When's the election?
Right now, it's actually executive elections. I'm running for WSUSA president. So it started Monday, goes and ends till on Thursday.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a chance to be a politician here.
Okay, let's hear it.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a really good political
Yeah.
question. Are we going to win when we go up there and play in the tournament?
Of course, no doubt in my mind.
See, there you go. Easy as that. All right, I'm here with Brandon Garside. He does the games on the radio with me over on 88.1 Weber FM, Ogden's radio station. Brandon, tonight was incredibly rough and incredibly frustrating to watch. Weber State ended up getting beat, which means that the conference tournament will be held in Missoula, Montana. Do we have a chance after tonight? Do we have a chance to go up there and win?
Well, we do, but it's going to be a lot more difficult than it would have been if the tournament obviously would have been hosted here. I mean, Montana, as we saw tonight, has a very, very good home crowd, and now that they have the advantage, I'm not going to say it's impossible for Weber to make things happen up there, but it's going to be an uphill battle, and it's going to be very difficult, and Montana's going to come out swinging just like they did tonight.
I think we ended 3 of 28. I'm not sure, I have to check the final stats, but I think we ended 3 of 28 from 3, and a lot of those, I'd say about 4 or 5 of those were throwaways there at the end, but you're right, absolutely. From 3 was rough tonight, 3 of 28 from behind the arc for Weber State. That was the story of the night. Weber State has lived and died by the 3 all year long, and tonight they died. So it was not a good night at the Event Center for Wildcat fans. Zach, what happened Tuesday night?
I don't know. I wasn't there, but apparently they were 3 of 26, not 3 of 28. So
that is true. It was a bad shooting night for the Wildcats. So going forward, is that a good thing or a bad thing? I have my opinion, but I want to hear yours on this, and then we'll talk about what
I think if it was really primarily the fact that they were having trouble shooting the ball, that's not that big a deal. Like we've said all along, they really need to focus on their defense and on rebounding, because that is what will translate to any gym anywhere in the country. So if they're going to go up to Montana and win that tournament and make it to the NCAA tournament, they really need to focus on their defense and their rebounding, because the great part about rebounding is you get those second chance shots, and then if you're shooting bad, you get more shots, you get more points. So
yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a good thing for Weber State that the reason they lost wasn't because they were outmanned. We already know that they match up well with Montana because they beat them by 16 at home.
Yes, they beat them before.
Right, so we already know that they're not outmanned by Montana. And the reason they lost and had such a bad night was they had such a bad shooting night. And Weber State's a team that lives and dies by outside shooting. And the problem with that, like I said in the package, is when you live by the 3, you die by the 3. And on Tuesday night, that's what happened. And, you know, I would eat my hat if...
You don't have a hat on.
You're right, I don't have a hat on. But if I did have a hat on, I would eat it if Weber State with 3 of 26.
I'm bringing you a hat next week.
3 of 26 again. If they did that again, I would be shocked.
In any game in the Big Sky Tournament?
Yes.
If they go 3? Okay.
In any game in the Big Sky Tournament.
Oh, boy. Okay, write that down. You're eating a hat
it's not gonna
on the show.
It's not gonna
I really would love that if you have to eat a hat.
It's not going to happen.
Please, please.
So
now I actually want them to go 3 of 26 at some point. I still want them to win the game because, you know, I go to Weber State, but I really want that to happen.
So, well, I'm going to tell you right now, if they go 3 for 26 again, then they're not going to win, whether it's Portland State or Montana. So, but I think it's a good sign that, you know, they had an off night, and that happens. And they didn't lose because they can't win at Montana. They lost because they had a bad night. And now they're going to get the opportunity to have played a couple of games at Montana in a row before they have to play them again, if they make it there. And part of the deal with that, when you're off on three-point shooting that badly, is missed three-point shots lead to long rebounds. Long rebounds lead to fast breaks, and fast breaks lead to a lot of momentum. And when you're playing on the road in a hostile environment like Montana was, you're not going to win. You're going to get beat. And the Montana crowd was into it all game long, and that hurt Weber State a ton. Was the atmosphere, and that was the first time Weber State had seen an atmosphere like that.
You're going up there, right?
Yeah.
You can be their good luck charm.
Hey, maybe that's it.
Paint your chest.
You know what?
Ready to go.
I have not been at a game all season long that they lost.
Wow, that still doesn't tell me anything.
Knock on wood.
But yeah, okay. The nice thing for them though is they get that first round bye, so they really only have to win. What is it? One game? Yeah, the one game to get into to that championship game, which may be against Montana.
Probably will be.
Yeah, they do get that first round bye. I don't like the way the Big Sky has seeded this whole thing in the sense of, what does it say? Weber State gets the highest remaining seed out of the 4 teams that play, and then Montana gets the lowest. Well, I don't know why they don't just play it straight up. That way you can kind of have an idea. It actually gives the coaches an advantage because they can go and watch 2 teams and study up on 2 teams rather than 4.
Right. Yeah, so. It's tough. It's tough. But Coach Ray will have Weber State prepared. It'll be, and I'm going to make another bold prediction right here. Weber State's going to win a close one in the championship game. They'll take care of Portland State in the first round. They'll win a close one in the championship game at Montana to qualify for the NCAA tournament.
Why aren't you a bookie or something? Because you always make these bold predictions of they're going to win close, they're going to win big.
Yeah, after getting beat 14,
always go with spreads and everything.
After getting beat by 14 at Montana, yeah, that's a bold prediction.
Okay, all right, whatever.
So maybe I should be a bookie though.
Maybe you should.
Remember, I did pick the Giants to win 21-17.
You know,
so.
Okay, whatever.
Or I put the spread at 3.5. I put the spread at 3.
Are you kidding me? You said that the Giants were going to win by 2 scores. Go back to the first show. You said the Giants were going to win by at least 10 points.
I said if I was Vegas, I would put, and we have audio. Okay. We have audio proving.
Can we move on, please?
I'm
begging you.
The Giants.
Because I can't go through that again. I can't do it.
You can't have me. You can't stand a world where I'm right.
You're not right. You said. Never mind. Never mind. Never mind.
Right.
We're in Trevor's world.
We are in Trevor's world. Okay, so we're going to wrap up the show today with another edition of Rapid Fire. We'll start with your boy, Zach. We'll start with your boy, Kobe Bryant. In the All-Star game, Kobe broke his nose, got concussed, which, by the way, is one of the coolest words in the English language. And after getting concussed, he proceeded to score 31 points against Minnesota on Wednesday night. Zach, should we still even be playing the All-Star game with these type of injuries happening?
I really don't care that happened to him. I really don't.
Okay, but let's say it was somebody you liked.
If it was somebody that I thought was, a respectable player, sure. I can see where your point is. But I think the All-Star games are fun. I know a lot of people don't like the Pro Bowl. The best All-Star game is actually the Major League All-Star game where it decides who gets home field in the World Series.
We're going to talk about
this. That's fantastic.
We're going to talk about this.
They should do that for the Pro Bowl. They should do that for everything.
This is our second. That'll be our second rapid-fire question. So stay on topic, Zach, here.
Oh, crap.
You've got... Should we play the All-Star game anymore? Yes or no?
Yes.
Because
it
it's
was
entertaining?
fun to watch, yeah. And I got to wear a Fakers Lakers shirt.
Lowest ratings ever?
Who cares? It was fun. Blake Griffin dunking, Kobe getting a broken nose.
Right, which we've never
LeBron
seen.
shooting threes from half court.
Never seen Blake Griffin dunk it.
It was fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That moves on. That moves us to our next rapid fire topic, which is, Zach, you're jumping the gun.
I know.
Not all that far away from our first rapid fire topic. We're going to stay on the All-Star game. Zach, which sport has the best All-Star game and which sport has the worst All-Star game?
The Major League Baseball has the best All-Star game without a doubt because it decides home field. That's the best.
So, okay. So, a guy like we saw last year wins the All-Star game for the National League, then ends up playing on the American League's team in the World Series. He cost himself a chance at the World Series. Because, look, I just about guarantee you that Texas wins that World Series if they have home field advantage. Just about guarantee you.
Okay, whatever.
I don't know if I would go as far as to say that absolutely, but I think Texas wins that World Series if they have home field advantage.
You think a lot of things, Trevor, and a lot of them don't come true. So
no, that's true, and that couldn't come true because it's in the past. But this is what I think. I think the home field advantage makes a big difference. Do we really want an exhibition game deciding who wins the World Series?
It's awesome because it actually matters, unlike the other All-Star games.
It shouldn't matter. It's an All-Star game. You should be able to go, sit, and enjoy what's going on.
That's what's great about baseball. Baseball is quirky. Baseball is fun. Baseball is baseball doesn't abide by the rules. That's the great part about it. So the rules of what we call normalcy in sports, whether it be the Pro Bowls and exhibition games, don't matter. That's what I love about baseball, is because it just throws all that in the trash and just does what it wants.
Right, like with instant replay. Yeah, just throw it away.
I love it.
We don't want anything to do with instant replay because we're traditionalists.
They're just doing what they want to do.
Okay.
I don't watch it.
I agree.
I'll be honest.
I agree that the baseball All-Star game is the best one, but I think it's because baseball, just as a sport, has that legend factor. It has that. You go and you see these guys like A-Rod, and I hate A-Rod, but you see A-Rod and Jeter and Big Papi, and you see these guys in the All-Star game. There's that legend factor of, I am watching a living legend. You don't get that necessarily, and even though Kobe Bryant and LeBron James may end up as two of the best players in the history of the NBA, there's just not that legend.
Let me say this.
Like I'm walking in the presence of a God factor.
Even if they didn't make the Major League Baseball All-Star game matter, the great part about it is in baseball, there's so much standing around anyways, and there's still, like you watch the All-Star game and you watch the Pro Bowl, and guys are kind of half in it up until the last few minutes. But the great part is in baseball's always half in it. There's no, they don't need to hustle. You know, you're not going to chase down a fly ball any harder than you would in a game. It is what it is.
Okay, so the rapid fire I think we can both agree with the fact that the Pro Bowl is the worst All-Star game, so we don't even have to talk about that.
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth, and I don't appreciate it. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Right, because you agree with me.
No, I don't.
Okay, what's the worst All-Star game?
Because I've already made you feel bad enough today. Let's move on.
What's the worst All-Star game?
The worst?
The worst All-Star game in major sports. Is it the NBA All-Star game or is it the Pro Bowl? Because I think those are the two choices.
It's the NBA All-Star game, I'll be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Nobody watches the Pro Bowl.
I watch the Pro Bowl.
Okay, well, you're nobody. All right.
If you touch my leg again, you're going to find out I'm nobody.
Yeah. All right. So we'll wrap up on baseball. Speaking of baseball, Ryan Braun's appeal of his positive PED test was accepted last week. So many people are saying that he got off on a technicality because Braun's sample was shipped off a couple of days later than Major League Baseball protocol calls for. Zach, where do you stand on this whole thing?
Like I said, baseball hasn't played by the rules for so long, I really don't even care.
So even if he had tested positive, Scherzer's 50-game ban, you don't care?
No, I really don't. I mean, they've been cheating in that game forever. They don't play by the rules.
It's pretty clean. It's pretty clean though now. Now it's pretty clean. The testing policy. Look what he got dinged for. If it's not not steroids, he got dinged for.
But I don't know. Baseball, let him do steroids. What the heck? It was
funner. Entertainment value.
It was funner when you had those big, obviously ripped out steroids guys hitting home runs all over the place, whether it be Mark McGwire or whoever.
But unlike the NBA, baseball actually cares about its competitive value, not just its entertainment value.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So my only question with this before we wrap up and close the show, my only question with this is, how does like waiting 2 days make the testosterone in your urine sample spike as high as it was? How did his testosterone get so high? I think he maybe did get off on a technicality, but that said, in this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. But the question remains: how did his testosterone level get so high? Urine doesn't get.
I don't know. I've never tested testosterone, man.
Well,
I don't know.
Well, no. That's steroids. That's how it gets high.
Yeah, I understand that, but
but how does it sitting around for 2 days get?
That's what I'm telling you. I have no idea.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So that's the remaining question. All right. Well,
steroids.
Sure. Whatever you say, Zach. You know. All right. Well, it's been fun again today. We missed FIFO, and once again, hope that he and his family are both doing well.
Absolutely.
If you missed any part of today's show, you can catch us on WeberStateNews.org. Just go to the Signpost YouTube channel and search WSU Signpost, all one word. So for Zach Russell and everyone on our amazing production staff, I'm Trevor Amicone. Thanks again for joining us. Have a great week, and we'll see you next Friday when we once again take you beyond the box score.